The enigmatic island of Gazo, legends of giants and ancient mysteries. Have you ever heard of an island steeped in legends of giants? The island of Gazo, nestled in Malta, serves as the backdrop for a captivating ancient tale. Malta, an island nation situated in the Mediterranean Sea just south of Europe, has always been strategically significant. Over centuries, it has been governed by a myriad of civilizations, including the Phoenicians, Greeks, Romans, and Carthaginians. Picture this. On a cold night thousands of years ago, a farmer gazes up at the sky as it shifts from orange to a fiery red. Suddenly, a loud thud reverberates through the air, and the ground quakes. Not from an earthquake, but from something far more extraordinary. As he peers into the woods, he spots a colossal silhouette towering above the trees. With a mix of fear and curiosity, he approaches, only to discover that the figure is a giant woman named Sansa. Unlike the fearsome giants of folklore, Sansa is gentle and nurturing. She assures the farmer that she and her kind are willing to protect their land from invaders. A welcome promise for a place that frequently faced threats due to its vital position on trade routes. Intrigued by her offer, the locals welcomed Sansa. Legend has it that she made Malta her home and began to rearrange the landscape, carrying massive stones on her shoulders to construct a magnificent temple called Gigantia, which translates to Place of Giants. Remarkably, she did this while cradling her half-giant, half-human child on her other shoulder. Some tales suggest that Sansa's diet consisted solely of beans and honey, although others argue that water was her beverage of choice. It's amusing to think that Malta, the 10th smallest country in the world, could have ever hosted giants. The temple itself resembles a giant game of Tetris, with stones weighing as much as 20 elephants. Scholars estimate that it would take a team of 50 men working in unison to lift just one of these massive blocks. While this narrative is entertaining, the existence of giants remains unproven, leaving skeptics to question the validity of such stories. A brief mention of a race of giants known as the Nephilim appears in some ancient texts. These were said to be terrible giants who wreaked havoc on earth and perished in the Great Flood, yet definitive proof of their existence has never surfaced, until now. In recent years, Malta's archaeological landscape has revealed astonishing discoveries, one of which is known as the hypogeum skulls. The term hypogeum derives from the Greek word for underground, and this remarkable site was unearthed in the early 20th century. It all began when the director of Malta's National Museum received a surprising phone call. Someone had accidentally unearthed significant bones and wanted him to investigate. What they found was a subterranean marvel resembling an underground city, complete with intricate mazes and rooms spanning several levels, all crafted from the same limestone found in Malta's temples above ground. Inside the hypogeum, researchers discovered an array of significant relics and artifacts, indicating that it served as a final resting place for the local populace. Among the findings were skulls, but not just any skulls, these were elongated in shape. To add to the intrigue, these unusual skulls were concealed from the public for years, sparking a flurry of theories and discussions. The discovery marked a pivotal moment for Maltese archaeology, yet scientists were at a loss regarding their implications. Some speculated whether the elongated shape resulted from natural phenomena or cultural practices, as certain civilizations historically used head-binding techniques to alter skull shapes. Others ventured theories involving extraterrestrial beings, or even legendary giants, postulating that these elongated skulls might have belonged to worshippers of otherworldly deities. However, without definitive evidence, the true identity of Malta's ancient builders remains shrouded in mystery. Let's delve into what scientists do know. Malta's megalithic temples have stood the test of time since 3500 BCE, predating the pyramids of Egypt. The enigma lies in the fact that these structures were erected long before the advent of written language, suggesting an advanced level of technological capability. The Gigantia Temple, in particular, seems almost too extraordinary to have been constructed by mere mortals. The South Temple features a corridor adorned with 4 oval rooms, reminiscent of a shamrock leaf. Here, scientists discovered altars embellished with spiral patterns, hinting at their use in early rituals. The North Temple, while smaller, presents a low entrance that requires visitors to crouch down, a symbolic gesture of reverence towards the deities. One cannot help but ponder the secret motivations behind these ancient builders' monumental creations. What profound beliefs and purposes drove them to construct such awe-inspiring structures? The quest for answers continues, leaving us to wonder about the mysteries that still lie beneath the surface of Malta's rich history. To enter this sacred site, one must first show reverence to its ancient deities. It raises an intriguing question. What drove these ancient builders to construct such a monumental temple? I can't help but wonder if they had access to something as fantastical as one of Daenerys' dragons to assist in moving those massive monoliths. Just kidding. But speaking of grand entrances, remember how the series portrayed King's Landing? They actually used the Medina Gates in Malta for the exterior shots in Season 1, Episode 3. Now, let's return to the giants. The theory of ritualistic practices gained traction when archaeologists unveiled a set of enigmatic figures, affectionately dubbed the Fat Ladies. These charming little statues, with their rounded bodies and joyful faces, resemble miniature representations of the Giante we discussed earlier. Researchers suggest these figures were crafted to celebrate well-being and flourishing. They provide evidence that the artisans of that era possessed remarkable craftsmanship and were quite deliberate in their artistic expressions and constructions. Among these artifacts is the renowned Sleeping Lady, a Neolithic masterpiece that portrays a large woman peacefully lying on her side. Upon further examination, scientists speculate that this statue symbolizes the Great Reaper. Discovered in the Hypogeum, a massive burial site, this particular statue stands out from the other Fat Ladies, showcasing unique features such as intricate hair and an embroidered skirt. Then there's the statue of an impressive 8-foot-tall woman, adorned with a rim on her skirt. Its discovery is quite the tale. In 1915, a farmer plowing his field kept unearthing large stone blocks. Intrigued, he contacted the director of Malta's National Museum for an investigation. Some believe this discovery offers compelling evidence that Sanaa truly existed, while others remain skeptical. But that's not all. The site where this giant statue was found also unveiled one of Malta's most spectacular archaeological locations, the Tarxian temples. Constructed from colossal limestone blocks, some weighing around 20 tons, these temples are a testament to ancient engineering. The museum director continued excavating and uncovered multiple sites made of megalithic stones, all believed to have been built by Stone Age farmers thousands of years ago on a secluded island in the Mediterranean. It's perplexing. Just look at the temples in Najdra. They may very well represent the world's earliest calendar. During the equinoxes, the sun streams directly through the main entrance and down the central axis. On the summer solstice, the rays illuminate the megalith's left side, while in winter, they grace the right side. It's a stunning example of astronomical precision. And what about the structures at the Tarxian site that we've already mentioned? This complex, the oldest in Malta, was designed for animal sacrifices to the deities. Scientists have confirmed this by uncovering numerous animal bones buried within the soil, along with an extensive collection of spiral artifacts indicating that the locals utilized this temple for various ritualistic activities. In total, Malta boasts 7 megalithic temples, each more awe-inspiring than the last. Scholars tirelessly dig to uncover the mysteries of these sites, much like researchers do with the pyramids of Egypt, the lost cities of the Americas, and other intriguing locations featuring underground tunnels and secret passageways linking the homes of the elite. You might wonder why such tunnels exist. Many cities have underground tunnels, often referred to as doppelgangers. However, it's essential to clarify that these passages are generally not interconnected, debunking the popular myth that they could connect Scotland to Turkey through underground routes established 5,000 years ago. Sounds far-fetched, doesn't it? Building such structures back then seems almost unimaginable. These tunnels are officially called the Erdstall tunnels, believed to have been constructed during the Middle Ages, yet we still lack precise dates for their creation. The highest concentration of these tunnels can be found in Bavaria, Germany, with many others scattered throughout Great Britain and France. Erdstall tunnels, a distinctive type of earthen passage found worldwide, are characterized by their narrow, oval corridors and tight choke points, known as schlubs or slip-outs. Despite much speculation, their purpose remains shrouded in mystery. Interestingly, some of these tunnels contain fireplaces and vents, which suggests they may have primarily served as shelters dating back to the Middle Ages, possibly as early as the 12th century. The absence of archaeological evidence and historical records adds to the intrigue, leading many to speculate about their original uses. Some scientists believe they may have functioned as storage spaces, but the truth remains elusive. The mystery of the Erdstall tunnels is a captivating subject, shrouded in whispers and speculation due to the absence of archaeological evidence and historical records. It's no wonder that various theories abound regarding their potential uses. Some experts assert that these tunnels served as storage spaces, although their narrow dimensions raise questions about the practicality of this notion. Others propose that they might have offered refuge to farmers during tribal raids. Yet the singular entry point casts doubt on their effectiveness as hiding spots. Now, imagine yourself in the role of an adventurous explorer, much like Indiana Jones, eager to delve into these enigmatic tunnels. Fortunately, a handful of sites, such as the Zoll Radkoblücken in Austria, invite curious visitors to uncover their secrets. However, many of these structures remain off-limits to the general public, leaving the true origins and functions of the Erdstall tunnels largely a mystery. In this age of advanced technology, one might assume that we can study just about anything, but the reality is more complex. The tight confines of these tunnels pose significant challenges for traditional surveying methods, which often fall short. To tackle this issue, scientists have turned to innovative handheld devices that combine an RGB camera, a gyroscope, and high-resolution depth sensors. This technology allows them to capture intricate details of the tunnels like never before. Additionally, modern techniques such as 3D surveying are employed in hopes of revealing the true origins and purposes of these underground structures. One hypothesis even suggests that these tunnels might represent poorly designed dwellings, left behind when their shortcomings became evident. Yet, this idea is not universally accepted. Other theories propose that the tunnels had spiritual significance, while the most intriguing speculation hints at a connection to extraterrestrial civilizations. Experts believe they may have served practical functions, such as areas for greenery or as hideaways from looters. Without concrete knowledge of who constructed these tunnels and when, the possibilities remain endless, perhaps even whimsical. Yes, you heard that right. Sloths, it turns out, are capable of building vast tunnels. In 2009, a farmer in southern Brazil made a startling discovery while driving his tractor through a cornfield. His vehicle suddenly sank into the ground, leading him to an underground tunnel. When researchers arrived to investigate, they unearthed a tunnel approximately 6.5 feet high, a testament to the unexpected wonders that lie beneath our feet. The story begins when a farmer, while working on his land, accidentally stumbles into an underground world. As he sank into the earth, he quickly realized he had pierced the top of an ancient tunnel. When researchers arrived to investigate, they uncovered a remarkable tunnel measuring approximately 6.5 feet in height and width, stretching about 50 feet long, right beneath the farmer's home. Upon closer inspection, they spotted deep claw marks lining the walls, irrefutable evidence that this was no human-made structure. What the farmer had unearthed was a megafauna palea burrow, a prehistoric passageway created by colossal creatures such as giant ground sloths or enormous armadillos over 10,000 years ago. It might be challenging to visualize these ancient beasts, so let's try an exercise. Picture a hamster, but now imagine it scaled up to the size of an elephant. Yes, this 13-foot-tall creature could walk on two legs. During their reign from about 15 million to 10,000 years ago, various species of sloths and giant armadillos roamed the Americas, some even excavating similar tunnels. Today, many of these ancient passages are filled with sediment, but a few, like the one uncovered by the farmer, remain intact. This intriguing discovery in 2009 sparked widespread interest, leading to the identification of over 1,500 paleoburrows in southern Brazil, making it the region with the highest concentration of such sites globally. However, the question remains, why are there so many of these tunnels in southern Brazil? While some paleoburrows can be found throughout South America, none have been identified in North America. A puzzling fact since those massive sloths traversed the entire continent. The exact purpose of these expansive tunnels is still shrouded in mystery. Scientists speculate that they may have served various functions, such as nursing spaces, temperature regulation, or even hibernation areas. These tunnels likely evolved over generations, continuously expanded by successive groups of sloths and armadillos. Now, let's shift our focus to another fascinating underground structure known as Fugo. No, this isn't referring to the Japanese delicacy or a town in Papua New Guinea. To explore Fugo, we must journey to the United Kingdom. Unlike traditional tunnels, Fugo are dry stone structures resembling caves adorned with stones. So far, only around 15 of these have been discovered, primarily located in Cornwall. According to estimates, these tunnels were constructed approximately 2,400 years ago and remain in pristine condition. A remarkable feat considering the lack of advanced machinery at that time. Isn't it fascinating to think about how ancient people created such lasting structures without the modern tools we rely on today? In stark contrast, if you were to buy an apartment now, the quality might not inspire the same confidence. Returning to our discussion of Fugo, their intended purpose seems rather mundane. They might have been used for spiritual rituals, hiding places, or even food storage. However, the latest theory surrounding their function is rather peculiar. England is notorious for its high humidity levels, which can be detrimental to food preservation. Ancient peoples, known for their ingenuity, may have adapted these Fugo to store particular food items, especially those with natural molds, to help preserve perishables like milk, butter, and cheese. But let's be clear, these are merely theories, as the true reason behind their construction remains elusive. What sets Fugo apart is that they were intentionally built structures, unlike the excavated mines found in Wales. The construction involved digging deep trenches, lining them with stone slabs, and then covering them with capstones, followed by backfilling, all of which required considerable time and effort. Around the globe, cities are often built atop intricate tunnel systems, each unique to its surroundings. For instance, Paris is famous for its extensive network of abandoned underground quarries, which can pose risks of collapse in certain areas. London boasts one of the largest tunnel networks in the world, with many tunnels originally designed for military purposes. Meanwhile, New York City is rumored to be home to secret tunnels, and Los Angeles has remnants of old tunnels from the Prohibition era, once used for speakeasies. Interestingly, Florida also has its share of hidden tunnels. In 2011, in Ybor City, near a former post office, flooding revealed an unusual structure. However, it didn't attract much attention at the time, and it wasn't until 7 years later that something truly captivating came to light. This historic neighborhood, founded in the 1880s, was discovered to have a hidden tunnel network, unveiled during renovation work. The exact purpose of this network remains unknown, but most scientists believe it was intended to connect early gaming establishments to the port of Tampa. Determining the full extent of this tunnel system is a challenging task, leaving many questions unanswered. The purpose of these mysterious tunnels remains largely a mystery, yet most scientists lean towards the idea that they were once vital connections to early gaming spots and the bustling port of Tampa. However, as anyone will tell you, deciphering the true extent of this intricate tunnel network is no easy feat. In 2018, a fascinating discovery was made when a historic home in Seal Heights unveiled locked doors, leading to tunnels dating back to the 1920s. One local even recounted an astonishing journey through a tunnel that lasted a full 20 minutes. Rumors continue to swirl, suggesting that some of these tunnels might even connect to the Hillsborough River and Ybor City. While research is ongoing, we still await any new revelations. Now, if you were to step through a small stone doorway in Hierapolis, Turkey, you might find yourself in a perilous situation. In ancient times, this entrance was believed to be a portal to the underworld. Romans would enter, bringing in perfectly healthy bulls, only to witness them collapse mysteriously after a few minutes. Strangely enough, humans could walk in and out without harm. Recent studies may shed light on these eerie occurrences, linking them to the height of the individuals involved. This gateway, known as Plutonium, after Pluto, the god of the underworld, leads to a modest 32-foot cave. However, the real threat lies beneath the surface. Hierapolis is located in a highly active geological region, featuring a significant crack that continuously emits volcanic carbon dioxide, which manifests as a visible mist during the day. As the sun sets, this gas forms a dense carbon dioxide layer on the arena floor. If you're there at dawn, you'd best make your exit before it's too late. As the sun rises, the concentration of carbon dioxide can soar, reaching levels that can suffocate birds, bulls, and even humans in mere minutes. But how did the Romans escape unharmed? The answer lies in their height. As the concentration of carbon dioxide decreases with elevation, the animals succumbed while their taller handlers could breathe safely and walk out. Moving on, let's talk about the infamous Bear Fort, a 16th-century structure located approximately 146 miles from Delhi. This place is notorious for being one of the most haunted locations in India. During daylight hours, the fort buzzes with visitors who explore the remnants of temples and palaces. However, they are greeted by a glaring sign warning that all access is strictly forbidden after dark. Locals claim that at night, the sounds of women screaming and crying echo through the ruins, accompanied by the unsettling noise of breaking bangles and strange music. Many have reported seeing shadowy figures and flickering lights amidst the ruins, or even catching a whiff of an unfamiliar perfume in the air. Now, let's journey to Japan, where you'll find the Aokigahara Forest, one of the country's most restricted areas, situated in Ichikawa. Despite covering just over 40 square yards and being primarily a dense thicket of moss-covered bamboo, its proximity to a parking lot and modern buildings can be misleading. Since at least the 19th century, tales have circulated about anyone who steps foot into this forest disappearing without a trace. Upon arrival, visitors are greeted by a sign detailing its ominous history and the curse believed to haunt it. Some whisper of an ancient samurai lord roaming the woods, while others claim the forest conceals a bottomless pit filled with toxic gas. Whether these legends hold any truth, the area is now enclosed by stone walls, and entry remains strictly prohibited. In Connecticut, a place known as Dudleytown awaits, nestled within what locals refer to as the Dark Entry Forest. But take heed, venturing inside is not advisable. This land has been private property since the 1920s and is notorious for its eerie reputation. Established in the early 1740s, Dudleytown was settled primarily by members of the Dudley family, believed to be descended from Edmund Dudley, an English nobleman executed for treason. Local lore suggests that a curse followed the Dudley family across the Atlantic, resulting in crop failures, mental distress, and a string of tragic events in the village. While historians have found little evidence to substantiate these claims, the pitch-black surroundings and the eerie ambience reminiscent of the Blair Witch Project helped fuel ghost stories throughout the 1980s. Following numerous acts of vandalism in the subsequent decade, the landowners made the decision to close the area to the public. This dilapidated building once stood as the luxurious palace of King Farouk's family, the hidden tales of abandoned places and forbidden islands. Did you know that some locations are so steeped in mystery and danger that they've been completely closed off to the public? One such place lies in Egypt, where a once grand palace, once home to King Farouk's family, the penultimate monarch of Egypt, now stands abandoned. After a series of vandalism incidents in the following decade, the landowners decided to seal it off from the public. Today, locals describe the palace as eerily unsettling and entirely off-limits. Some daring souls have reported flickering light bulbs and the unsettling movement of shadows, accompanied by strange noises. There's even a chilling story about a group of children who ventured inside, only to find themselves engulfed in darkness when all the doors vanished, leaving them to scream for help. Now, speaking of isolation, let's turn our attention to Niihau, a Hawaiian island that has remained off-limits to outsiders for over a century. This tiny gem, the smallest inhabited island in Hawaii, spans approximately 69.2 square miles and is home to just 84 residents. It lacks modern amenities like cell phone service, paved roads, or power lines, relying solely on solar panels for electricity. The island has been privately owned since 1864 when a Scottish farmer acquired it for $10,000, a sum that would equate to around $250,000 today. The Robinson family, descendants of the original owner, have maintained strict privacy over the island, making access nearly impossible without an invitation. In Central Europe, a network of enigmatic underground passageways known as the Erdstall tunnels captivates the imagination. These cramped tunnels, mostly found in Austria and Bavaria, may date back to the Middle Ages, with origins tracing as far back as the 12th century. Despite extensive research, the purpose of these tunnels remains enigmatic. Some suggest they were used for storage, but many lie below the waterline, making that impractical. Their narrow, claustrophobic sections and abrupt drops raise further questions about their intended use, whether for escape routes, hiding places, or spiritual practices. To add to the mystery, the complete absence of artifacts makes it even more challenging for researchers to decipher the true purpose of these tunnels. Switching gears, let's discuss Uluru, also known as Ayers Rock, which has been off-limits to climbers since 2019 to respect its sacred status for local communities. However, the rock's formidable height of 1,142 feet, comparable to an 80-story building, also plays a significant role in this decision. The climb to the summit is perilous, often slippery, and extreme summer temperatures can soar to 116 degrees Fahrenheit, leading to severe dehydration and even fatalities, adding to the rock's mystique. After rainstorms, temporary water holes on top of Uluru become breeding grounds for peculiar crustaceans known as shield shrimp. These otherworldly creatures, measuring about 3 inches long, lay their resilient eggs in the pools, hatching and thriving on microorganisms when enough summer rain arrives. The origin of these shrimp eggs remains a mystery, with the prevailing theory suggesting they might be carried by the wind. Now, let's consider the precarious state of aging dams. Imagine a colossal structure slowly deteriorating, with cracks forming in its concrete, holding back thousands of tons of water. When a minor earthquake strikes, it can become a game-changer. The old dam may give way, unleashing torrents of water through rapidly expanding ruptures, cascading towards the valley below. Dams reaching their 50th anniversary are considered to be in their alert age, signaling that maintenance will become increasingly challenging, and the risk factor rises. A recent study by the UN Institute for Water, Environment and Health highlighted that the UK and Japan host the most dams in this alert age category. It's no surprise that in both nations, the average dam is over 100 years old. If you're curious why so many dams are aging simultaneously, the answer lies in history. During the mid-20th century, a construction boom saw countries erect over 1,100 dams annually from the late 1950s through the 1970s. However, post-1990, the pace of new construction slowed dramatically, with no more than 500 new dams being built each year. This number has dwindled even further since 2000, dropping below 300. Consequently, many dams constructed during that mid-century surge are now facing the inevitable challenges of aging at the same time, leaving countries grappling with the need for urgent upgrades and repairs. This figure has plummeted even further, now falling below 300. The pressing issue at hand is that many dams, constructed during the significant expansion in the mid-20th century, are now aging simultaneously. As a result, numerous countries are grappling with infrastructure challenges today. What happens when these dams reach the end of their lifespan? If not properly maintained, they are prone to failure, which poses a serious threat to both water supplies and safety. It's akin to a massive game of water-based Jenga, and just like in the game, we must ensure that these crucial structures don't topple over. A tragic example of such a disaster occurred with the Bansa Dam, which was built in 1952. This structure collapsed in 1975 after being overwhelmed by the torrential rains brought on by Typhoon Nina, resulting in the loss of up to 240,000 lives. One of the primary reasons for this catastrophe was the dam's inadequate design. It simply wasn't engineered to withstand extreme weather conditions. When the area experienced unprecedented rainfall, the dam overflowed and ultimately failed. Now, I bet you're eager to learn if the dam near your home is at risk of collapsing. If you find it on our list of the world's most dangerous dams, it might be time to consider relocating. Take, for instance, the Hoover Dam, a monumental structure perched on the Colorado River, straddling the border between Nevada and Arizona. Towering over 726 feet, it's not just a breathtaking sight. It serves as a powerhouse of energy. Its base is as thick as 2 soccer fields placed end to end, and each spillway can handle the same volume of water that cascades over Niagara Falls. However, experts sound the alarm. If the gigantic Hoover Dam were to fail, the consequences could be catastrophic, endangering millions of lives. The concern is heightened by the fact that the dam is aging and situated in a seismically active region. Next, consider the Almendra Dam, the tallest dam in Spain, which was constructed between 1963 and 1970. Its primary role is to manage the flow of the Tormenta River. This dam is no laughing matter. Even a minor miscalculation could unleash a wave of destruction, making it a serious concern for those living downstream. Then there's the Jinping Dam, often referred to as the Jinping First Cascade, which holds the title of the tallest dam in the world. At a staggering height of 1 feet, it's located in China and was built to regulate the flow of the Yedong River. This structure carries a tremendous responsibility, generating between 16 and 18 billion kilowatt-hours annually. To put this into perspective, the average U.S. household consumes about 11,000 kilowatt-hours each year. This means that the energy produced by the Jinping hydroelectric power station is enough to supply around 1 million homes. The power of dams. A closer look at engineering marvels and their risks. Did you know that the average American household consumes approximately 11,000 kilowatt-hours per year? Remarkably, this means that the energy produced by the Jinping hydropower station is sufficient to power around 1.6 million homes. Now, let's dive deeper into some of the most significant dams around the globe, starting with the colossal KBA Dam. Built on the Zambezi River between Zambia and Zimbabwe, this behemoth requires constant maintenance from multiple authorities. However, there's a pressing concern. Reports indicate that if repairs are not promptly undertaken, the dam could result in catastrophic damage to the surrounding areas. Keeping an eye on this giant is essential. Next, let's discuss the Mosul Dam, often labeled as one of the world's most dangerous. Surprisingly, it is constructed from loose mud rather than concrete. This design flaw has led to ongoing erosion, as the river gradually washes away the mud. Maintenance crews work tirelessly to preserve the structure, but it remains a critical point of concern. On to the breathtaking Idukki Dam in Kerala, India, a stunning double-curvature arch dam that towers over the Periyar River. As one of Asia's tallest arch dams, it holds an immense volume of water. If anything were to go awry at this dam, the repercussions could be tragic, potentially claiming countless lives. Thus, ensuring its upkeep is paramount for the safety of the surrounding communities. The Three Gorges Dam in China stands as a titan among dams, being one of the largest in the world and the biggest hydroelectric power station globally. Completed in 2012, this mighty structure rises nearly 600 feet and spans 7,660 feet, over half the width of Manhattan. However, its size comes with serious environmental and safety implications. Located in an earthquake-prone area, concerns about its stability are rampant. Moreover, sediment accumulation in the reservoir poses additional risks, and during its construction, over 1 million people had to be relocated, drastically altering the local ecosystem. In the United States, the Montello Dam draws thousands of visitors each year, lured by its stunning beauty. But here's the secret that most people overlook: the so-called glory hole, a concrete funnel protruding from the dam, is actually a gateway to danger. When the lake level rises above 440 feet, water drains out through this funnel, creating a mesmerizing whirlpool. However, getting too close could spell disaster. Nestled along the Columbia River in Washington, the Grand Coulee Dam has been a vital power source for the Pacific Northwest since 1942. It comprises nearly 12 million cubic yards of concrete, enough to build a sidewalk that is 4 feet wide and 4 inches thick, wrapping around the equator twice. Yet, despite its grandeur, this aging structure, now over 80 years old, requires significant maintenance. Being situated in a seismically active zone raises further questions about its stability. The Kurobe Dam in Japan, standing at an impressive 610 feet tall, was completed in 1963. With Japan's history of earthquakes, this dam engenders a level of anxiety about its durability, especially given the region's susceptibility to heavy rainfall, which could place additional strain on the structure. On the Indus River, the Tarbela Dam, the largest earth-filled dam worldwide, was completed in 1976. However, it faces challenges such as sediment buildup that diminishes its storage capacity, compounded by the effects of climate change on water flow, jeopardizing its stability. Why do we build dams in the first place? Primarily for irrigation, they facilitate water access to crops, with an astonishing 40% of the food we consume globally reliant on these vast water-holding structures. Additionally, hydropower dams function like giant batteries, converting flowing water into electricity, while also providing water supply, flood control, and recreational activities like boating and fishing. As many dams age, the U.S. is pioneering efforts in dam removal, having dismantled over 12,200 dams in the past 30 years. Old dams not only pose risks but are also costly to maintain, making their removal a practical and often economical solution. Imagine, if you will, a cozy dwelling with a breathtaking view of the Mediterranean Sea. This might have been the enticing pitch for real estate 100,000 years ago. Welcome to the unique and fascinating caves that could serve as homes, although it's essential to remember that back then, neither real estate nor advertising existed. Neanderthals, who mostly lived in caves, may have found one such cave resembling a modern residential structure, nestled within high limestone cliffs. Forget, for a moment, the common belief that Neanderthals were merely cave dwellers incapable of constructing homes. Interestingly, one of their caves bears a striking resemblance to a modern residential building. Nestled within the daunting limestone cliffs known as the Rock of Gibraltar, this cave might have commanded a hefty price if Neanderthals had developed an economy. Discovered in 1907 by navigators who stumbled upon a significant opening in this fortified rock, the site has intrigued scientists for years. They have uncovered remnants of Neanderthal life, including ancient tools and the bones of long-extinct animals. But the most remarkable revelation was the existence of 4 interconnected caves, resembling a residential complex where Neanderthals cohabited, sharing resources and supporting one another in hunting and fishing. Picture it. Our ancient ancestors gathering in these caves, creating feathered ornaments and adorning the walls with abstract art around 100,000 years ago. Today, scientists flock to this historic site, delving deep into the lives of Neanderthals. In late 2021, archaeologists made an exciting find, a hidden passageway within one of the caves, leading to an undiscovered tunnel. Crawling through this opening, they uncovered a new chamber that had remained sealed off from the outside world for over 40,000 years. It appears the space may have been one of the most sought-after living quarters within the mountain complex, boasting high ceilings adorned with ancient stalactites and stone curtains that partition the area into several rooms. Among their discoveries were remains of ancient fauna and intriguing markings on the walls. Though it seems Neanderthals never truly inhabited this chamber, they likely visited it on occasion. Archaeologists even found the shell of a sea snail, known as a dogwhelk, suggesting a Neanderthal had brought it here for reasons unknown. However, the primary occupants of this unique space were hyenas. These findings indicate that Neanderthals were more akin to humans than to primates, showcasing their established way of life and even some cultural customs. With much work still ahead, scientists are eager to explore what new chambers might lie within this ancient rock. Meanwhile, in 2003, another remarkable discovery unfolded on the island of Flores in Indonesia. Amidst lush jungles, archaeologists unearthed a cave filled with ancient tools. Initially, it was believed that human ancestors had resided there, but the unearthing of an unusual skeleton revealed a different story. A thorough analysis confirmed that this skeleton belonged to a 30-year-old woman, standing at a mere 3.5 feet tall, just above the waist of an average adult. Her weight was comparable to that of a full-grown sheepdog. This skeleton did not belong to Neanderthals or Australopithecines. Rather, it represented an entirely new species, which scientists have dubbed Homo floresiensis, or simply, the Hobbit. Accompanying the remains of this fascinating creature were the remnants of peculiar ancient animals, including an elephant the size of a cow, large flightless birds, and gigantic rats. Interestingly, it appears that the hobbits were not the primary inhabitants of this cave. Rather, the rats, which were the size of cats, may have been their competition. Some analyses suggest that Homo floresiensis was not a direct ancestor of modern humans but occupied a distinct branch on the evolutionary tree. Their skeletal structure bore more resemblance to that of monkeys than to contemporary humans. In 2009, deep within the dense jungles of Vietnam, archaeologists stumbled upon Sun Dung, the largest cave in the world. Inside, if you shout, your voice echoes for an astonishingly long time. In certain areas, the cave's height reaches half that of the Empire State Building, and its total area exceeds that of a central block in New York City. Sun Dung is one of 3 interconnected caves in the Vietnamese jungle, featuring intricate mazes that lead to unique flora and fauna, isolated from the outside world. It's as if you've entered a hidden underground jungle, where collapsed ceilings allow sunlight to filter through, illuminating unusual trees and ancient stalactites. Some limestone deposits here are over 450 million years old, predating the dinosaurs. Rivers also flow through the cave, formed by rainwater cascading down from openings in the ceiling, creating fast-moving streams reminiscent of water slides that navigate unknown underground labyrinths. Scientists have only begun to explore a fraction of these vast caves. Next on our journey, we venture to New Zealand, where an astonishing sight awaits: hundreds of thousands of fireflies illuminating the interior of a cave with their ethereal blue glow. Together, they create a breathtaking spectacle that might make you feel as though you've stepped onto another planet. However, visitors can't linger too long. Special air monitoring devices are strategically placed throughout the cave to keep track of carbon dioxide levels, essential for the firefly's survival. These delicate insects are highly sensitive to environmental changes. If too many people crowd the cave, park staff may request that they leave to protect the oxygen vital for the firefly's existence. Having explored some truly incredible caves, we now set our sights on a more foreboding destination: the arid desert of Yemen's Al-Mara province, where we are searching for. Did you know that there are places on Earth so mysterious that they seem to defy explanation? One such place is hiding in the Al-Mara province of Yemen, where an ominous black hole sits in the heart of the desert. This isn't your typical cave. It measures roughly the size of a basketball court, but it's not its dimensions that send shivers down your spine. It's what lurks within. Scientists remain baffled by this void in the desert, which constantly emits an unpleasant odor reminiscent of rotten eggs. Strange, eerie sounds occasionally escape from its depths, adding to the sense of dread surrounding this enigmatic abyss. The sheer darkness of the hole is so intense that even the most powerful flashlights fail to penetrate it. Helicopters have soared above, drones have captured images, and high-powered lenses have been deployed, yet all they reveal is an unyielding blackness. It resembles a giant ink blot set against the golden sands. Local residents harbor a deep fear of this place, convinced that it serves as a gateway to another dimension inhabited by malevolent beings. Currently, this colossal hole stands as one of nature's most poorly understood and mysterious phenomena. How did it come to be? How old is it? What lies at the bottom? Scientists are on a quest to unravel these mysteries. One theory suggests that construction work in the vicinity, specifically geologists drilling for minerals, may have triggered shifts in the Earth's crust, leading to this terrifying collapse. However, this theory remains unproven. Now, imagine a realm where sunlight hasn't touched for over 5 million years. A place that's cold, damp, and has minimal oxygen. Yet, astonishingly, life thrives here. Not just microbes and bacteria, but larger organisms as well. This cave, known as Muval Cave, located in southeastern Romania near the Black Sea, is akin to a different planet. The entrance is a small hole in the ground, leading to a tunnel that descends deep beneath the surface. Inside, levels of hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide soar above normal limits, and the air contains only half the amount of oxygen found outside. Humans cannot survive here without an oxygen mask, yet the unique creatures residing within have adapted to these extreme conditions. Muval Cave is home to 48 species of organisms, 33 of which are entirely unknown to science. Here, you might encounter peculiar insects, white snails, albino spiders, giant millipedes with long antennae, transparent shrimp, and even rare species of leeches. These life forms owe their existence to autotrophic bacteria that thrive in the cave. They consume carbon dioxide and release nutrients, which feed other organisms in a complex food web that sustains life in this isolated environment. Surprisingly, you can uncover life-altering discoveries simply by exploring Google Maps. Take, for instance, Canadian Joel Lupon, who stumbled upon a peculiar crater while planning a casual camping trip in Quebec's Coteau region. In 2024, he zoomed in on Google Earth and spotted an unusual round structure that piqued his curiosity. The measurements were astonishing. As he contemplated a laid-back camping excursion in his homeland, he decided to explore Quebec's Coteau region via Google Earth. That's when something caught his eye, a peculiar rounded formation that piqued his curiosity. Spanning an impressive 9.3 meters from one edge to the other, this structure appeared to be accompanied by a nearby lake. Without hesitation, he captured a screenshot and sent it off to a French geophysicist to see if he could shed some light on this anomaly. Often, such images turn out to be mere glitches or Google Earth watermarks, so he was taken aback when he checked his email and found a response from the scientist. The geophysicist speculated that, based on the topographical features, he might have stumbled upon a meteor impact site. Impact areas are notoriously difficult to identify, given that they've existed for millions of years, their original shapes long since altered by erosion. Scientists refer to these formations as impact structures, typically circular or crater-like, composed of deformed bedrock created when a meteor strikes the Earth's surface. Interestingly, the towering walls of these craters often lead to confusion, as they can be mistaken for mountain ranges, leaving the Canadian explorer perplexed. However, The French geophysicist's analysis offered him newfound hope, suggesting that this odd formation in Quebec might actually be classified as a type of volcanic structure. After Leon reintroduced the topic into discussions, scientists were compelled to dig deeper in their quest for the truth. Until this recent revelation, the prevailing belief was that the area bore resemblance to volcanic formations, a common misconception since other geological phenomena, such as sinkholes, can also mimic impact craters. To confirm the true nature of the site, scientists requested samples, a more reliable method for determining whether a meteor had indeed struck there. When a meteor impacts Earth, it brings with it a variety of minerals from outer space. This fascinating aspect of impact craters provides a unique link between our planet and the cosmos. As of now, scientists have cataloged the majority of minerals indigenous to Earth, and when searching for an impact structure, they typically look for specific elements like tennite, which is exclusively found in meteors. The largest known impact crater globally is the Vredefort crater, located in South Africa, formed approximately 4 billion years ago. The asteroid responsible for this colossal crater is believed to have been one of the largest ever to collide with our planet. Once the researchers received the test results from the Canadian site, they confirmed the presence of zircon, a mineral often associated with impact occurrences. While there is no certainty that Leon has indeed discovered an impact crater, scientists are organizing a research mission to the area to investigate further. If it turns out to be an actual impact crater, it would be monumental news, as the last significant discovery in this field was made back in 2013. Another captivating discovery came from a 15-year-old Canadian boy named William G. He had a penchant for unearthing long-lost Mayan cities. Unlike the previous story, William approached his quest with a clear intention and a methodical research strategy. Having immersed himself in literature on Mayan civilizations, he theorized that these ancient people constructed their cities in alignment with the stars. With this in mind, he meticulously mapped out all known Mayan cities on Earth. It was then he noticed something intriguing. In the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, archaeologists had revealed 2 Mayan cities, yet there were 3 stars depicted on the constellation map. Could this mean that a lost city awaited discovery nearby? William G. is recognized as a science prodigy, even earning accolades for his constellation theory. When he identified the absence of a 3rd city among the 23 stars he was analyzing, he took to Google Earth, hoping to find satellite images that might help unravel this mystery. Advances in satellite technology have illuminated the shadows of ancient Mayan cities, including Tikal, located deep within the Guatemalan jungle. Believed to be the capital of the ancient Mayan Empire, Tikal fueled his hopes, prompting him to contact a friend at the Canadian Space Agency to verify his findings. With his accomplishments, William had connections in influential circles, and that's when the excitement escalated. According to the satellite images, there existed a large square area straddling the Mexico-Belize border that appeared to be the remnants of a city. William brought these images to a remote sensing expert, who conducted a thorough analysis and concluded that the area could potentially house 30 structures, including a significant pyramid. He named this newly discovered city Mouth of Fire. However, his theory faced substantial skepticism within the archaeological community, as many experts sought to debunk William's findings. Critics argued that constellation theories lacked scientific rigor, and prominent anthropologists and astronomers questioned William's methodology. The enigmatic discoveries of Google Earth and the remote island of Tristan da Cunha. Have you ever stumbled upon something so intriguing that it left you questioning everything you thought you knew? Picture this. A 15-year-old teen, fueled by curiosity, almost unearthed a lost Mayan city. Exciting, right? But the world of discovery doesn't stop there. What about those peculiar specks visible on Google Earth? In the heart of the Algerian desert, a YouTuber made a fascinating find, mysterious circles that have sparked years of debate regarding their origins. As he navigated Google Earth, he stumbled upon these strange spotted formations, stretching for miles in an unbroken line. Their isolation, far from towns, roads, or any signs of human activity, raises the question: are they man-made or merely a natural phenomenon? To solve this riddle, he decided to interview the very experts responsible for capturing Google Earth's images. To his surprise, he discovered that these circles were indeed real, appearing in multiple images across different years. Initially, he speculated that the circles might be related to oil activity, as Algeria is rich in natural resources. Companies often conduct seismic surveys, essentially sending shock waves into the ground to analyze the Earth's surface. Their bounce back reveals what lies beneath. However, there was another theory. The Sahara's arid conditions compel people to seek water, leading him to wonder if the circles were remnants of ancient water wells. After consulting an expert, he learned that these weren't ancient wells at all. Traditional water constructions visible in other cities looked distinctly different from these enigmatic circles. Determined to uncover the truth, he journeyed to Algeria, driving 99 miles deep into the desert. What greeted him was astonishing. A colossal crater surrounded by 12 smaller holes, resembling the face of an ancient clock. Digging further, he uncovered thin metal wires, old dynamite, and sardine cans, artifacts that hinted at a hidden history. It turned out that the Sahara circles, as they became known, were not remnants of seismic surveying. In fact, the technology needed to create them didn't even exist at the time. Instead, these circles were linked to oil exploration, with the dynamite holes representing an age-old method of searching for oil, while the sardine cans were left behind by workers exploring the region. Yet another Google Earth mystery unraveled. Now let's shift gears to a place that few even know exists, Tristan da Cunha. When you mention plans to visit this remote island, your friends might raise an eyebrow in confusion. It's no surprise, as Tristan da Cunha is hailed as the most isolated inhabited archipelago in the world, with the nearest populated land, St. Helena, a staggering 1,500 miles away. With only 229 residents, this tight-knit community is practically a family. Everyone knows each other, and there are as few as 10 last names on the island representing just 10 families. Reaching Tristan da Cunha is an adventure in itself. Lacking an airport, your journey will primarily be by sea, typically requiring a days-long voyage from South Africa. Only 3 ships regularly service the island, making fewer than a dozen trips each year. While some cruise lines may include it in their itineraries, be sure to plan well in advance due to the limited availability of berths. Obtaining landing permission is also essential. Although traditional hotels are absent, several guest houses offer accommodations, and you might even have the opportunity to stay with a local family. They will provide you with a place to sleep, 3 meals a day, and laundry services. Remarkably, 88% of your payment goes directly to the island family, with only 12% allocated for taxes. And the best part? Accommodation is surprisingly affordable, around £65 for full board in 2024. Tristan da Cunha is part of British Overseas Territory, so the currency is the British pound. However, the island also has its own currency, the St. Helena pound, which is pegged to the British pound. Interestingly, it's only been about 80 years since the island began using actual money. In 1942, the naval station started paying cash wages, transitioning the Tristan Islanders from a barter economy to a cash-based system, allowing them the novelty of making their first cash purchases. As you prepare for this unique journey, remember to pack everything you might need. After all, you certainly won't find a Walmart on this remote island. The unique charm of remote destinations. Have you ever thought about how the most remote places can offer a surprising twist on everyday life? For those who have ventured to the far corners of the earth, the experiences can be both eye-opening and unforgettable. Let's explore some intriguing locales, starting with an unexpected treasure. Imagine making your first cash purchase in a store that feels like it's been plucked from another era. While you won't find a Walmart on Tristan da Cunha, there is a supermarket, albeit a humble one. Picture it. A building that resembles an abandoned barn, devoid of flashy advertisements and plate glass windows. Despite its unassuming exterior, this store is vital for the local community, providing essential goods alongside locally sourced foods. Islanders must plan ahead since ordering supplies can take months, with items arriving only when ships dock. Operating weekdays, this local haven offers more than just staples. Today, the residents continue to cultivate their own crops and raise livestock, ensuring self-sufficiency. However, they also rely on the supermarket for necessities like flour, sugar, and frozen goods reminiscent of those found in UK or South African stores. Interestingly, while fishing, especially for rock lobsters, is a significant part of the economy, the community thrives on its agricultural pursuits. Now, let's shift gears and head to a destination that poses an entirely different kind of adventure. What if I told you about a city where the air is so thin it's nicknamed Hypoxia City? Welcome to La Rinconada, the highest city on the planet, perched over 16,000 feet in the Peruvian mountains. This place, despite its challenging altitude, is home to a staggering population of 30,000 to 50,000 people. In stark contrast to Tristan da Cunha's idyllic surroundings, La Rinconada presents a rugged urban landscape. The city is characterized by low-rise homes and limited essential services. Residents face significant challenges. There's no reliable running water, no sewage system, and waste collection is non-existent, forcing people to burn or bury their garbage. Until the early 2000s, electricity was a luxury few could afford. Most necessities, including food, must be transported from outside, making life here a daily struggle. Despite its rough edges, La Rinconada has evolved into a bustling hub where commerce thrives. Some locals trade food and clothing, while others provide essential services. The architecture, however, tells a different story. Huts constructed from corrugated metal dominate the landscape, often unstable and rusting. These materials were chosen for their practicality, as they're lightweight for miners to transport. Unfortunately, the lack of proper insulation leaves many residents shivering in the cold, even with access to wool from local sheep. But if the buildings are lacking in charm, the views certainly are not. Everywhere you look, the towering presence of La Diente, or Sleeping Beauty, looms above, offering breathtaking vistas. Getting to La Rinconada is no easy feat. Your journey begins at Alejandro Velasco Estate International Airport in Cusco, Peru. From there, a train or bus ride will take you to Puno, near Lake Titicaca. The real adventure starts when you attempt to hitch a ride or find transport into the mountains, as bus schedules can be unpredictable. If you choose to rent a car, prepare for some challenging roads that require careful navigation. Unlike Tristan da Cunha, where cash transactions became the norm in the 1940s, La Rinconada has a unique economy primarily driven by gold mining. These mines are often unregulated and unguarded, posing significant risks to miners. They operate under a cachu system, working for 30 days to extract ore, which they can take home on the 31st day as payment. Although there are no banks, storefront money transfer agencies allow miners to send funds to their families, albeit with the uncertainty of how much they'll actually receive. Now, let's journey to another remote yet welcoming destination, Zard. At first glance, its harsh climate may seem uninviting, but the warmth of the local community will quickly change your mind. No visa is necessary to visit or work here, making it accessible for adventurous spirits. The capital, Lurin, is a fascinating melting pot of over 50 nationalities among its 2,400 residents. Here, you might even catch a glimpse of a polar bear wandering through town. Living conditions are compact, with just one grocery store and numbered streets, but the sense of community is vibrant and welcoming. In these remote places, life is often a blend of challenges and unexpected joys. Each destination offers a unique perspective on resilience and community, reminding us that even in the most isolated corners of the world, human connection thrives. Imagine a place where the unexpected is commonplace, where among its 2,400 residents, you might just spot a polar bear casually wandering into town. This unique community boasts compact living spaces, a singular grocery store, and streets that are numbered rather than named, all of which contribute to its distinctive charm. Longyearbyen is also home to a university center, serving around 300 students. Interestingly, every student is required to learn how to handle firearms for their safety amidst the surrounding wilderness. Originally established as a mining town, much like its counterpart, La Ronada, the focus of Longyearbyen has shifted primarily toward tourism. However, a quirky tradition from its mining days still endures. Both visitors and locals remove their shoes upon entering hotels and restaurants. This custom originated from the necessity to keep the cold dust at bay. Our next stop is Palmerston Island, a remote coral atoll in the Cook Islands, sitting about 290 miles northwest of Rarotonga. This island, famously visited by explorer James Cook on June 16, 1774, was completely uninhabited at that time, despite the discovery of ancient graves. Today, it is home to a tiny population of just 25 residents, primarily descendants of 19th-century English sailor William Marsters. Marsters arrived in 1863 with 2 Polynesian wives and later added a third to his family, raising a total of 23 children. Fishing remains the backbone of the local economy, closely resembling subsistence living due to the island's isolation. While modern amenities and communication services are available, there is no airport. Cargo ships visit the island periodically. However, there's a stretch of water that even seasoned explorers fear. This is the notorious Drake Passage. This treacherous waterway connects the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic, extending from Cape Horn at South America's southernmost tip to the South Shetland Islands of Antarctica. It spans approximately the same distance as that between London and Berlin and can take up to 48 hours to cross. Some sailors liken the challenge of navigating these waters to a journey to the moon, illustrating just how formidable it is. Remarkably, even Sir Francis Drake, after whom the passage is named, never dared to sail through due to its perilous reputation, opting instead for the safer, albeit longer, Strait of Magellan. The Drake Passage has claimed the lives of around 20,000 sailors and sunk over 800 ships. Despite its fearsome reputation, tourists regularly brave the crossing to visit Antarctica, although the passage is often dubbed the world's most terrifying ocean crossing. Interestingly, the Antarctic Peninsula, where travelers typically venture, isn't technically part of Antarctica itself. It juts out towards South America like 2 fingers almost touching, causing the water to be squeezed between these 2 landmasses and creating strong ocean currents. The passage is part of the Antarctic Circumpolar Current, the largest ocean current on Earth, with water rushing through at speeds between 95 and 100 feet per second, equivalent to a staggering 50 million cubic meters per second, resulting in turbulent waters. Additionally, fierce winds typically blow from west to east between 40 and 60 degrees latitude, leading to the aptly named Roaring Forties, Furious Fifties, and Screaming Sixties. Land masses slow down these winds, which is why storms impacting Ireland and the UK tend to weaken as they move east. However, the unique latitude of the Drake Passage allows these winds to circle the globe unimpeded, causing them to gain strength. This relentless wind generates massive waves, often ranging from 13 to 16 feet tall, which are significantly larger than those found in the Atlantic. Beneath the surface, the Drake Passage conceals underwater mountains that remain out of sight. The powerful current forces its way through this narrow passage, causing waves to crash against these submerged peaks. This tumultuous environment creates internal waves that bring cold water up from the depths, ensuring that the wildness of the water extends far below the surface. The first sailor to successfully navigate around Cape Horn and through the Drake Passage was the Dutch navigator William Schouten in 1616. Yet, the most renowned attempt to cross it was made by Sir Ernest Henry Shackleton aboard his ship, the Endurance. Shackleton and 27 crew members departed from South Georgia, aiming to reach Vassal Bay in Antarctica, but fate had other plans. On January 19, 1915, their ship became trapped in ice, and by October it began to sink. The crew camped on floating ice for 2 months before launching lifeboats to a remote, icy destination known as Elephant Island. Shackleton, along with 5 men, undertook a perilous journey back to South Georgia to seek help. This arduous crossing of the Drake Passage took 15 days, battling hurricane-force winds, but they ultimately succeeded in organizing a rescue for the remaining crew. In a remarkable twist of fate, scientists discovered the wreck of the Endurance in 2022, lying 10,000 feet beneath the waves. More recently, in December 2019, a group of 6 daring athletes made history by rowing across the Drake Passage for the first time ever. They persevered through 12 consecutive days of relentless rowing, each taking turns every 90 minutes. This feat not only highlights human resilience but also adds another chapter to the storied legacy of this fearsome body of water. In December 2019, a group of 6 fearless athletes made history by becoming the first to row across the treacherous Drake Passage. Their remarkable journey lasted 12 grueling days, characterized by relentless rowing in shifts of 90 minutes each. Imagine facing one of the most daunting maritime challenges head-on. The athletes described their experience as cold, wet, and dirty, with towering waves crashing against them like solid walls. The weather in the Drake Passage is notoriously unpredictable. While experienced ship captains can often anticipate its changes and adjust their routes accordingly, the rowers had no such luxury. Captains might alter their departure times to ensure a safety margin, avoiding the risk of becoming stranded in the passage's worst conditions. Sometimes, the crossing is relatively smooth and calm, referred to as Drake Lake. Other times, however, sailors encounter turbulent waters, a phenomenon called Drake Shake. According to seasoned captains, the calmness of Drake Lake occurs only once in every 10 crossings, while the infamous Drake Shake makes an appearance once or twice in that same span. Don't be fooled. Smaller vessels like schooners or kayaks may not withstand the massive waves of the Drake Passage. However, sturdier ships and modern cruise liners are equipped with robust hulls and advanced stabilization systems, making the journey considerably safer, albeit still an adventurous endeavor, especially for those prone to seasickness. If you prefer a less risky option but still want to traverse from the Pacific to the Atlantic by water, the Panama Canal is an excellent alternative. The concept of a waterway across Panama dates back to the 16th century, when a Spanish explorer discovered that a narrow strip of land separated the 2 oceans. However, building such a canal seemed impossible due to the daunting mountains and dense jungles standing in the way. This ambitious idea had to be shelved for centuries. Fast forward to 1880, and France, led by the same visionary who constructed the Suez Canal in Egypt, attempted to bring the canal to life. Unfortunately, the reality of the construction proved far more challenging than it appeared on paper. The terrain in Panama was one of the toughest and most perilous to navigate. Workers found themselves moving massive amounts of earth in a jungle teeming with snakes, battling oppressive heat and torrential rains. During the wet season, heavy downpours transformed rivers into wild rapids, soaking workers who sometimes went weeks without seeing the sun. The constant danger from falling rocks and the threat of malaria-carrying mosquitoes took a heavy toll, leading to widespread illness among the labor force. As if that wasn't enough, an earthquake struck, compounding the difficulties they faced. After 7 arduous years, France ultimately abandoned the project. In a turn of fate, the United States acquired the French assets in the Canal Zone and completed the canal by 1914, at a staggering cost of around $375 million. This 50-mile-long waterway now saves ships traveling between New York and San Francisco a whopping 7,872 miles. Today, approximately 14,000 vessels navigate the canal each year, each paying around $1 for the privilege of this remarkable shortcut. The marvels of engineering and history, from bridges to mountains. Did you know that the United States invested approximately $375 million in a remarkable waterway? This 50-mile stretch not only saves ships traveling between New York and San Francisco but also sees around 14,000 vessels navigating through it annually, generating about $1.8 million in tolls. It seems that the investment has truly paid off. But let's shift our focus to a different waterway, the mighty Amazon River. Spanning approximately 4,300 miles, it flows through 3 countries and is home to over 30 million people residing in its basin. Surprisingly, there isn't a single bridge that crosses it. The river's landscape, with its marshes and soft soils, poses a significant challenge for engineers who would need to construct extremely long bridges with deep foundations, all of which require substantial funding. Building bridges over deep water is no easy feat in certain regions of the world. Engineers have the advantage of using floating platforms, but the Amazon's waters are notoriously unpredictable. Throughout the year, the river's width fluctuates dramatically. During the dry season, from June to November, it typically spans 2 to 6 miles, but come the wet season, from December to April, it can expand to as wide as 30 miles, with water levels rising by up to 50 feet. This drastic change makes it impossible to build floating bridges or pontoons. Furthermore, the riverbanks are composed of soft, shifting earth that erodes with the seasons, complicating matters even more. To tackle these challenges would require an unprecedented engineering project. Fortunately, there's currently no urgent need for a bridge across the Amazon, as much of its route runs through sparsely populated areas, minimizing the necessity for major road connections. Now, let's journey to Washington, D.C., where the Washington Monument stands as a testament to an ambitious vision. Originally designed by Robert Mills, the monument was intended to resemble a grand temple, complete with 30 towering stone columns and statues of key figures from American history, including an equestrian statue of George Washington and a 600-ton Egyptian-style obelisk at its center. In 1848, the first stone was laid during a grand ceremony attended by thousands, including a young Abraham Lincoln, who was yet to rise to fame. Construction began, but by 1854, the project faced financial difficulties and halted when the monument had only reached 150 feet. It wasn't until 22 years later that President Ulysses Grant allocated federal funds to resume the project. By that time, tastes had shifted, leading to the decision to forego the temple's base. The lengthy pause in construction resulted in mismatched stone colors, giving the monument its distinctive lighter base compared to the upper section. When it was finally completed, the Washington Monument proudly held the title of the tallest structure in the world, until the Eiffel Tower took that honor just 5 years later. Speaking of the Eiffel Tower, did you know that before JFK Airport was established, the Empire State Building was envisioned as a major airship dock? Alfred E. Smith, the project's leader, imagined a scene where passengers would seamlessly descend a ramp and find themselves in the bustling streets of New York within just 7 minutes. However, the captain of the famed airship Graf Zeppelin expressed skepticism about this plan, citing the challenges of landing a dirigible and the need for numerous ground crew members and long ropes to secure the airship. In a rare historical event, the Graf Zeppelin attempted to dock at the Empire State Building in September 1931. The pilot had to skillfully navigate the airship around the top of the building for 3 minutes, battling strong winds gusting at 40 miles per hour, which made the landing incredibly tricky. Meanwhile, curious onlookers on the streets below halted traffic for over half an hour, captivated by the spectacle. Shifting our gaze to Japan, we find Mount Fuji, a symbol of the nation. While it's recognized as a single peak, it actually comprises 3 different summits. Legend has it that Mount Fuji was formed in just one night due to an earthquake in 286 AD. But geologists assert that its true origins date back much further. The first of its peaks began to form around 700,000 years ago, and about 100,000 years ago, 2 ancient mountains became part of Fuji's foundation. The volcano we see today started developing between 11,000 to 8,000 years ago. In comparison to other volcanoes, Mount Fuji is still considered relatively young and active, although its last eruption occurred over 300 years ago. Each serious earthquake in the vicinity raises concerns about a potential eruption, yet thousands of adventurers climb its slopes every year. And here's an intriguing tidbit. You could actually live inside the Eiffel Tower if you wished. Gustave Eiffel designed the tower to include a private apartment for himself at its pinnacle. He furnished it with warm wallpaper, elegant wooden cabinets, and even a grand piano, leaving it immaculate upon completion. Today, the apartment is occupied by two mannequins, one of Eiffel himself and the other of Thomas Edison, a frequent guest in the lofty residence. If you're fortunate enough to purchase a ticket to the tower, you might just encounter the echoes of their shared history. Unveiling hidden secrets. A journey through iconic landmarks. Did you know that the only residents of a once bustling apartment at the top of the Eiffel Tower are two mannequins? One bears the likeness of Eiffel himself, while the other represents the renowned inventor Thomas Edison, who was a frequent visitor to this unique abode. If you ever purchase a ticket to ascend the tower, you'll be treated to a rare glimpse of this apartment through a nearby window. But that's not all. Did you know that the Statue of Liberty harbors a hidden chamber? Nestled within its torch, this copper structure measures an impressive 29 feet in length and rests upon a steel framework designed by none other than Gustave Eiffel. Unfortunately, access to the torch has been restricted to tourists since it was closed in 1916. However, in a bid to share its breathtaking views with the world, a camera was installed there in 2011, allowing people to enjoy a live stream of the stunning panorama from the statue's torch. Now, if you find yourself wandering through Trafalgar Square, keep an eye out for London's smallest police station. This quaint station is cleverly concealed beneath a lamp post, nestled within an ornamental light fitting. Established during the 1920s, it was designed to keep police officers close to the public rallies that frequently occurred in the area. Some say it once had a direct phone line to Scotland Yard, but today it serves as a cleaning station. So don't expect to see much beyond a few mops. Meanwhile, in the grand landscapes of Mount Rushmore, a monumental endeavor took 14 long years to complete. The colossal faces of 4 American presidents, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, and Theodore Roosevelt, are carved into the southeastern face of the mountain. Intriguingly, behind Abraham Lincoln's head lies an unfinished secret room that was intended to be the Hall of Records, showcasing vital artifacts and documents of American history, such as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. However, a year into the project, authorities decided to redirect funds to finish the president's profiles, leaving this fascinating chamber forever incomplete and unseen by visitors. Speaking of secrets, let's talk about the Passetto di Borgo, a hidden walkway connecting Vatican City to the nearby fortress known as Castel Sant'Angelo. Stretching about half a mile, this passageway was constructed in the 13th century for popes to escape danger. Remarkably, it has been utilized at least twice throughout history for this very purpose. In a curious turn of events, a statue of Leonardo da Vinci, located at Fiumicino Airport, was unveiled in 1960. During a recent renovation, workers stumbled upon a small hole in the statue, approximately 30 feet high. After careful excavation, they discovered 2 parchments inside. The first chronicled the history of the airport's location, while the second listed the dignitaries who attended the statue's inauguration. Beneath the streets of Paris lies an expansive network of catacombs, stretching around 174 miles. It stands as one of the largest grave sites in the world, with only a small section accessible to tourists. Yet, some adventurous souls have managed to infiltrate the restricted areas, hosting picnics, parties, and even establishing underground businesses, like a fully operational movie theater complete with a restaurant and bar. When law enforcement officers discovered this hidden gem, they speculated that it must have been created by a secret society. The entrance was cleverly disguised to look like a construction site, complete with a motion sensor and a video camera to deter intruders. Those undaunted by the barking dog sounds would find themselves in an underground theater, complete with carved seating and a functioning projector. Experts were astonished by the successful electricity supply underground. However, upon returning for a closer inspection, they found everything had vanished, leaving only a note that ominously stated, "Do not try to find us." Finally, let's discuss a place that poses the ultimate challenge for adventurers: the death zone of Mount Everest. This perilous region is notorious for its high entrance price, which could potentially cost you your life. Those who dare to spend over 16 hours in this treacherous area risk never returning home, while those who endure 48 hours there face an almost certain fate of never seeing their families again. Situated at elevations exceeding 26,000 feet, the altitude is extreme, and winds can whip through at speeds of up to 62 miles per hour, threatening to sweep everything and everyone away. Remarkably, only one person has successfully thrived in these harsh conditions, albeit with a bit of assistance from supplemental oxygen. Yes, the vital gas is incredibly scarce at such heights. Without it, a human can only survive approximately 21 hours. A record was set by an extraordinary climber who reached the peak of Everest 10 times, achieving his fastest ascent in just under 17 hours. However, Pemba has since broken that record, pushing the limits of human endurance in this unforgiving terrain. Survival on Everest, the high stakes of climbing. Did you know that surviving on Everest can sometimes take up to 21 hours? It's a grueling test of endurance. One remarkable climber achieved the astonishing feat of reaching the summit 10 times, his quickest descent, an impressive 17 hours. But then came Pemba, who shattered that record, scaling Everest in just 8 hours and 10 minutes. Yet, let's be clear, these extraordinary achievements are not for the average climber. Both record holders are Sherpas, a group that has, in a sense, won the genetic lottery. Sherpas are native to the Himalayas and have developed a natural resilience to the challenges of high-altitude living. Despite the inherent dangers, the allure of the so-called death zone continues to draw adventurous souls. Since climbing records began, over 300 lives have been lost in this perilous area. Just last year, 18 climbers perished, and by July 2024, the death toll in the death zone rose by another 8. Strikingly, this treacherous part of Everest resembles a graveyard. Retrieving bodies from this hostile environment comes at an exorbitant cost. Families can spend a fortune. Oxygen, which is essential for descending a body, can run as high as $20,000. This may sound extreme, but a typical retrieval operation requires a dozen people, each needing an oxygen cylinder that costs about $400. When you do the math, the expenses spiral quickly. But it's not just about the money. The retrieval process is fraught with peril, causing many companies to shy away from such dangerous missions. Recently, authorities managed to recover 4 bodies and a skeleton from this treacherous terrain. While not all have been identified, one body had remained in the death zone since 2017, 7 long years. Now, let's shift our focus to the El Caminito del Rey in Spain. While it may seem like child's play compared to the Everest death zone, having reportedly claimed just 6 lives, it holds its own eerie charm. Picture this. You're standing on what some dare to call a walkway, a precarious piece of wood that seems ready to give way. It's only 3 feet wide, and if you dare to look down, you'll see a rushing river 330 feet below. You might sarcastically label it an engineering wonder, but in truth, it's anything but safe. This pathway clings to the side of a cliff, constructed using rudimentary tools and techniques long before modern machinery existed. Curious about how it was built? The original builders hung precariously off the mountain using ropes, and unsurprisingly, few were willing to take on such a dangerous project. Instead, prisoners sentenced to death were invited to participate, earning a chance for a reduced sentence if they survived the ordeal. Initially, the walkway was created to help workers at nearby hydroelectric power plants cross the local waterfalls while transporting materials. Construction began in 1901 and was completed by 1905. This historic pathway gained legendary status when King Alfonso XIII crossed it in 1921 during the inauguration of a dam. However, the walkway faced significant challenges. By the early 2000s, it was partially closed for over a decade. After 4 years of renovations and an investment of €9 million, it reopened in 2015, earning the dubious title of the world's most dangerous walkway due to several tragic accidents in the late 90s. Today, you can stroll along a 1.8-meter path that clings to the edge of the gorge. Remember, though, as much as they claim it's only taken 6 lives, the true number may remain a mystery. Now, let's journey to another cliffside destination that may appear deceptively safe at first glance. While not as high as El Caminito del Rey, standing at a modest 89 feet, this cliff is known for a very particular activity: cliff diving. Yes, you heard that correctly. Brave souls leap from its edge, and if you were to drop a watermelon from this height, it would hit the water below at a staggering 53 miles per hour, creating a spectacular splash. But the question arises, can a human withstand such a dive? Spoiler alert. Absolutely. Welcome to the world of Red Bull cliff diving, where fearless athletes take the plunge from heights equivalent to an 8-story building. But before you think about trying this for fun, let me emphasize that it requires exceptional physical fitness. The better your condition, the more successful your dive will be. And it's not just about your physique. Your eyes become your ultimate navigation system as you make that daring leap. Be warned, the impact is no joke. If you dare to jump, you'll experience around 5 G-force upon landing. For comparison, even during the wildest turbulence on a commercial flight, you rarely feel more than 1 G. So, whether you're scaling Everest or diving from a cliff, the thrill is matched only by the risks involved. The impact of diving into the depths of the blue hole is no laughing matter. If you dare to plunge in, you'll experience around 5 G-force upon impact. To put this into perspective, during a commercial flight, even in the midst of severe turbulence, you rarely encounter more than 1.3 G-force. However, when you leap off a cliff, your heart races, and that staggering 5 G-force can hit you like a freight train. Your brain begins to feel deprived of oxygen, and in mere seconds you could black out. Suddenly, all that blood rushes to your head, your face swells, and your lower eyelid nearly covers your eyes. This unsettling phenomenon is known as a redout, as all you can see is a bright glow peeking through those constricted eyelids. Sounds exhilarating, right? Now, while many cliffs are daunting, the Blue Hole in Egypt is surprisingly accessible and has gained popularity among free divers for its mild currents, which are a boon when diving deep. Yet, despite these seemingly inviting features, this beautiful spot has claimed around 200 lives in recent years. To be frank, the Blue Hole is, by technical standards, just an average dive site. There's nothing inherently more perilous about it compared to other locations in the Red Sea. However, navigating through the arch of the Blue Hole is no simple task. It's a challenging submerged tunnel that has witnessed its fair share of tragedies. Although there's no official record of fatalities, one source estimates that roughly 130 divers met their end there between 1997 and 2012, an average of over 8 lives lost each year. Some speculate the actual number could be as high as 200, factoring in a few snorkeling-related incidents not directly linked to the arch. To enhance safety, Egyptian authorities have stationed a police officer at the Blue Hole, ensuring that divers are accompanied by certified guides who are well-versed in the area. The arch itself sits at a depth of 170 feet, which means you really need to know your stuff and have the proper equipment. Most